everybody. Wow, what a turnout. I think this looks like one of the most packed Good Fridays I've ever seen in history. Thank you all very much for being here today to celebrate the 2024 bun hanging celebration that we do every year at the Bell. Thank you all for being here. It means a great deal to us. Also, I'd like to thank you for your custom throughout the year. Without all of you, we wouldn't be here and wouldn't be doing what we do every day. I'd also like to say a big thank you to our brigade of staff who you'll see standing behind the bar. Again, without them we are nothing. One final thing I'd like to say is a big thank you to a very special lady, and that's Jane Miller. For those of you who may not know her personally, Jane is our pastry chef and has worked at the Bell for 25 years. And today is her last day, she's retiring. Jane is not only our pastry chef, but she's our mother figure in the kitchen and for lots of other people, and we will really, really miss her. So, with no further ado, I'm going to pass over to Julian, who's going to introduce our speaker for today, or our bun hanger, chief bun hanger. And I've
been called many things.
Hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful Christmas. Thank you. Christmas.
You've got to have your teeth in to say chief bun hanger and not go horribly wrong. Good morning, everybody. It feels a bit weird to say good morning. We're an early start today. It's never too early to have a pint in the Bell. So just to echo what Joe was saying, and on behalf of everybody at the Bell, thank you very much to all of you for coming today, and thank you very much to all of you for your support through the whole year. None of this happens unless you guys support it, and we're all incredibly grateful, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you all very, very much for your support of the Bell. Just a quick little bit of history. We think that this started, this strange affair of hanging the bun, in 1906. So if my maths are correct, what's that, about 118 years of doing this, and most of those buns, some of them have got knocked down along the way, but most of them are still up here when you look around here. So quite an amazing tradition. And I was sort of reflecting on this morning. Of that 118 or whatever it is years, 116 years, 89 of those have been with members of the family being the custodians of the Bell, going back to my mum's parents, Joe and Frank Bonson, starting here in 1935. So that's not something that we take lightly, something that's important in the community that we're all in, that we're all so proud of in Horndon, that we've been privileged enough to be part of that for 89 years. And of course that means that next year will be 90 years if we all get to that, which we very much hope we will. And just going to get a quick plug in, look out for maybe some events next year to celebrate 90 years of involvement at the Bell. So I'm not going to carry on whittering on. I'm going to quickly introduce our esteemed guest and bun hanger today. Just a little bit of background on Alan Parry. Alan, you might know from if you're a sports fan, from being the preeminent commentator on Sky Sports for many years for Premier League. You might also know him if you're interested in your athletics prior to that, him being the lead commentator for ITV on major athletics events in a quite incredible career. And what's that got to do with the Bell? Well, it's got a lot to do with the Bell, because Alan has been a very, very close, or was a very close friend of my dad's, of JV's, from the early 1980s, and he was introduced to JV by the great Mel Batty. I'm looking across because there's a picture of Melvin in the corner, which is lovely to see, of him running, we think, when he won the world's 10-mile record holder event. And Mel was a huge supporter of the Bell, and he introduced my dad to Alan in the early 1980s. And it was quite a fascinating time to be a part of the Bell. Then, if you're interested in your sports, Mel was a trainer of Eamon Martin. You might remember, a Commonwealth 10,000 metre record holder, won the London Marathon, I think the Boston Marathon, and Eamon still comes in the Bell to this day virtually every week. So there's a long lineage of, sporting related people that used to come here, which we're all very, very proud of. But anyway, Melvin's introduction of Alan set off a friendship that lasted up until his death. And Alan was always a huge and loyal supporter and fan of Dad's, and he used to invite JV along to some of the events, and back then it was athletics. In fact, it was pretty much the only time that JV used to leave the bell in the 1980s, if I remember right, would be to go because he got an invite. And Mel would normally be involved. Just a quick anecdote before I pass you over. Mel, being the legend that he wasn't the most reliable person, and normally what would happen, if I remember rightly, is Mel would say to JV, look, I've got you a ticket to go to this event, the championships. All you need to do is get a flight there, and I've got you a hotel room. And pretty much every single time Dad would go, and when he had arrived, there was no ticket and there was no hotel room. He'd find himself sleeping on the couch with a load of other people who'd been promised a ticket from Melbourne, and he didn't have a ticket. And one of the stories that he always told very fondly, he was thinking, well, how the hell, I think they might have been in Helsinki for the European Championships. How am I going to actually get in to watch this? I've turned up here, I haven't got a bedroom, I haven't got a ticket. And Alan very kindly said, don't worry, I'm commentating, come with me, and I'll get you in when I go through. So they went through the press accredited area, where Alan confidently walked up to the guard and said to him, this is my commentating assistant and researcher. He will be coming in with me and and commentating today. And the guard wasn't having any of it, so well, if he hasn't got his ticket, he can't come in. And Dad always told the story, Alan went absolutely ballistic and said, how was he supposed to go out and commentate to millions of people on ITV without his assistant commentator who provided all of the details that he needed, while Dad stood there looking a bit worried. Eventually the guard relented under the tirade from Alan and let them in. And once again, he got to actually go and see some of the athletics. So look, it's a huge privilege to have somebody that's been involved with the bell in that sort of regard for so many years come and hang the bun, and it's an absolute privilege to pass you over to Alan Parry to hang the bun. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Jules. Good morning, everyone. I shouldn't be nervous, should I, really, as a professional broadcaster? As he's mentioned, I work for Sky Sports, so I'm not used to such a bloody big audience to be And I should apologise as well, because I know it's a little bit later in the day that this event is normally held, but I had a prior engagement over in Buckinghamshire, so I had to get away pretty quickly. But look at the bonus side of it, you've got an extra hour's drinking in the bell, which is a wonderful, wonderful establishment where I've had so many happy times, including just yesterday evening when we all had a lovely meal with my favourite landlady in the whole of the world, Christine Beretta. I always think if they ever do a remake of those St. Trinian's days, school, if anyone's old enough to remember that, Christine would be the perfect head girl, wouldn't she, with a cheeky sense of humour, and, well, I'll leave it at that, I suppose. For those of you who have heard of me and wonder why you only hear me on TV and never see me, well, now you know why. I was once told I had the perfect face for radio, and I can't really disagree with that. For those of you who have never heard of me, well, Jules has mentioned a little bit about my career. I was very lucky. I managed to travel the world on somebody else's expenses. I went to 4 Olympic Games, 6 World Cup finals, lots of European championships in athletics and football, Premier League, Champions League. I even commentated on Gladiators for 2 series, would you believe? Yeah. However, this is the crowning glory, the highlight of my career, hanging a bomb from the ceiling of a pub in Essex. I never thought it would happen to me. And I do wonder, I did say to Christine, why have you chosen a commentator to do this? Because everyone knows that our sort of failing is to operate the mouth before engaging the brain, and I'm definitely one of those. We've all made some horrible mistakes. We do at least, Joanne, know what time of the year it is. But I once said in a commentary, Harry Kane has now scored 13 goals, exactly double his total for this stage last season, which my old maths teacher would have loved. John Motson, an old colleague of mine, who sadly passed away last year, said once, for those of you watching in black and white, Liverpool are the team in the red jerseys. Watching in black and white, it shows you how old he was, doesn't it? The great Murray Walker, I'm sure we've got some racing fans here, who once said, he's in front of everyone in this race apart from the 2 cars in front of him. But it wasn't just commentators who made these mistakes, and I've written down a couple of things here about sportsmen who make these silly errors as well. Ian Rush, I don't know if we've got any Liverpool, well I know we've got at least one Liverpool fan, who played for Juventus, and he said, I never really settled in Italy, it was like living in a foreign country. Yeah, it would be, Rushy, wouldn't it? It would be, yeah. And then the other one was from, who was it now? I'll find it in a second. Ah, yes, Paul Gascoigne, Gaza, who said, I would like to play for an Italian club one day, someone like Real Madrid. Good footballer, obviously not very good at geography, was he? And another one from Gaza, he said, I don't mind if we lose every game as long as we go on to win the league. Which would be quite tricky really, wouldn't it? David Beckham, lovely guy, lovely footballer, not the brightest spark in the room perhaps. He said once, I owe it all to my parents who've been with me ever since the age of 7. Where the hell was he between 1 and 7? And he also said about his son Brooklyn, he said, I'm determined to get him christened, I just haven't decided which religion yet. So there's plenty like that, there's plenty of errors that we all make. No one I know in our business, football or otherwise, has ever had to hang a bun. So I'm a little bit anxious about this. But it's been mentioned before about this wonderful establishment. I've had, as I said, so many happy times here, thanks to Mel Batty. Yeah, well, I could keep you here till Easter Monday giving you Mel Batty stories. Great guy, but organisationally, no Mel. But to have met JV was a great privilege, and what a tragedy that he's not here to celebrate along with everyone else today. Perhaps we should appropriately just raise our glasses to the memory of that great guy, JV. JV. Yeah, I had some great times with him, not just persuading a guard to let him into a stadium. We ran the London Marathon together. Well, when I say together, we started out on the start line together, and JV had disappeared into the distance before I'd gone 5 steps. He was a really fit, good athlete, great man, absolute gentleman, great seaman as well, wasn't he? I remember we had a holiday on the Norfolk Broads once, and he was horrified with my piloting skills when I went right through the middle of all these bloody yachts that were getting in the way, and he couldn't take it. Christine, we've mentioned as well, of course. Wonderful family. It's nice to be invited to an occasion that's actually older than I am. When you get to a certain age, you worry about, I always say, if people say, how are you? I say, well, I'm above ground and breathing, which is the most you can hope for. So I hear you say, let's crack on, because you all want another drink, I'm sure. So here is the bit I've been dreading. Thank you, Joanne. Happy Christmas to you too. Is this my Christmas present? Okay. You hold that for a second. I don't slip. I've been into some funny commentary positions, but never one like this. Adds a whole new meaning to the phrase, well hung, this. There it is.